morning. Welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Wednesday, July 3rd, 2013. There will be no broadcast tomorrow, July 4th, or Friday, July 5th, because of the U.S. federal holiday. We will resume broadcasting on Monday, July 8th. All eyes are on Cairo right now. Egypt is on the brink of a showdown between the military and President Mohamed Morsi. He has rejected an army ultimatum to end the political crisis with his opponents. Last night, 16 people were killed in Cairo, 200 were injured. Apparently, the deadline will expire within about 45 minutes. The army is meeting right now, apparently, with the liberal opposition leader. Al Jazeera is reporting that the Muslim Brotherhood, which is President Morsi's political party, is reporting that a coup is underway already, and have indicated that they intend to stand with their bodies in front of tanks to prevent the army from overthrowing the government. This will be being watched throughout the day, no doubt. Meanwhile, a Bolivian plane carrying Bolivian President Evo Morales was forced to land in Austria after France and Portugal both refused air transit permits as overflights. They believed that it was suspected that the leaker, Edward Snowden, was on board the plane. President Morales was leaving an energy conference in Moscow, heading back to Bolivia. While in Moscow, he had made some comments that he might be willing to consider giving Mr. Snowden asylum in Bolivia. The Bolivian foreign minister furiously accused France and Portugal of putting the president's life at risk. He had to divert and he landed in Austria. As it turns out, Mr. Snowden was not on board the plane. A second insurance-linked security fund manager, the second biggest one now, this would be Credit Suisse, has closed two of its funds to new investors. This is after Nafila Capital, which is the largest, closed its funds last week. The trend, called by Endurance CEO Chairman John Charman as hot money, has brought a whole new wave of money from the capital markets into the reinsurance industry. Right now, though, reinsurance rates are very low, and there doesn't seem to be any place to deploy the money, so the investment banks, in this case the ILS managers, are calling a temporary halt. Meanwhile, James Vickers, the top man at Willis Re, says that reinsurers have not yet ruled out the prospect of a widely predicted tsunami of claims stemming from the 2008 financial crisis. The evidence on the July 1 renewals indicates that while reinsurance rates fell in many casualty areas, financial lines exposed liability classes bucked the trend and in fact saw their increases go up about 10%. That's substantial given the fact that everything else was going down. Vickers said that this information suggests reinsurers are still pretty nervous on financial lines. Generically, it does not appear as if a tsunami of claims is coming, but I don't think we're out of the woods yet, and underwriters know how difficult and dangerous financial institutions are. Vickers says that there's plenty of evidence underlying the risks of some major financial players. He said, listen to some of the select committees in Parliament or in Washington. People are admitting that running these big financial institutions is probably outside the capability of any one person. Meanwhile, the Bermuda Association of Bermuda Insurers and Reinsurers has sent a letter to President Obama offering their support on his climate action plan. The letter commends the American president for highlighting hazard mitigation, building resilience, and land use planning, and tackling one of the great challenges of the 21st century and offering the cooperation of Bermuda's reinsurance sector. Of particular relevance to the ABIR was Obama's proposal to learn from the lessons of Hurricane Sandy. Publicly reported insured losses from Sandy currently stand at over $19 billion, but experts predict that the insured losses could hit $25 billion. The ABIR says that about half of that is expected to be paid by Bermuda. Meanwhile, that Russian rocket that exploded yesterday at the Baikonur space facility in Kazakhstan, in addition to destroying the 3 satellites on board with a value of about $200 million, may in fact have caused a huge chemical contamination on the site. The 17-story rocket used an older fuel called heptil. It's fairly volatile and unbelievably carcinogenic. Experts, for example, at the University of Southern California say that the chemical, in fact, could cause environmental hazards in the ground soil for up to 30 years on the Baikonur site. No word from the Russians yet on this. Meanwhile, in the United States in Washington, after a briefing yesterday conducted by the National Transportation Safety Board, the original investigators who investigated the crash of TWA Flight 800 in 1996 conducted a briefing saying that they stand by their results. They said they investigated the crash inside and out, and the most recent conspiracy theories that came in connection with a television program that's due to air next week in the United States were just that, theories. In fact, there's no way that this was anything other than an accident, spark in the central fuel tank, which caused an explosion. They said they're upset about bringing this back up for the sake of the people who lost relatives in the accident. It's not good. We'll see what happens. This is Independence Day in the United States tomorrow. Probably several dozen people will be injured or maimed or killed by fireworks once again. That's the news for today. Have a pleasant holiday, and we'll see you on Monday, July 8th.